There's a tiny 3-second window that determines whether you succeed or fail at almost everything you do. Most people don't even know it exists. But those who learn to control these crucial moments literally transform their lives overnight. We've been trained to believe success requires grand strategies, motivation tricks, or years of discipline. But what if I told you the truth is much simpler and much more powerful? Have you ever wondered why some days you crush your goals, and other days you can't even get started? It's not your motivation. It's whether you're winning or losing these 3-second windows. Let me show you what this mysterious 3-second window really is. Why it controls everything from your health to your wealth, and exactly how to master it. Because once you understand this hidden mechanism, you'll never see your decisions the same way again.
3, 2, 1.
See that? That pause, that tiny hesitation, that's the moment I'm talking about. That's the 3-second window where everything changes. Watch how differently it plays out here. You see? Completely different outcome. So what's the difference? Not skill, not preparation, just how he handled that 3-second window of decision. This moment has a name. Psychologists call it the impulse gap, the tiny space between stimulus and response. It's the 3-second window between, the instant you feel offended and when you choose to react, the second you feel tempted, and when you either resist or give in, the moment your alarm rings and when you decide to hit snooze. Every single day, you face hundreds of these windows. They seem insignificant in the moment, but they're actually the building blocks of your entire life. These split-second choices might seem small, but they're silently determining everything. Your bank account, your relationships, your health. Master these windows, and you master your life. So why are these 3-second windows so powerful? And more importantly, why do we lose control of them so often? It all comes down to how your brain processes decisions. Let me break down what's really happening in those crucial moments. First, there's the limbic hijack. When you face a decision, especially one involving discomfort, your emotional brain fires up before your logical brain can catch up. In those 3 seconds, your limbic system floods your body with either resistance or desire. This response is lightning fast, and it happens below your conscious awareness. It's not your fault. Your brain evolved to avoid pain and seek pleasure, not to build your ideal future. Second, there's the decision fatigue factor. Your willpower isn't infinite. It drains throughout the day like a battery. Research from Florida State University shows judges give more favorable rulings early in the day and after lunch breaks, when their mental energy is highest. By the end of the day, your 3-second window becomes nearly impossible to control because your brain is exhausted from making decisions. Third, and most powerful, is the habit loop. Your brain is wired to automate responses to save energy. Neuroscientists at MIT found that once a habit forms, the decision-making part of your brain literally shuts down during that behavior. That's why those 3-second windows feel automatic. They are. Now think about your day so far. How many of those 3-second windows have you already faced? And how many did you actually win? What separates high performers isn't talent, it isn't luck. It's their ability to consistently win those tiny moments. They've trained themselves to take control of the 3-second window, the space between impulse and action. Here's the good news. Once you understand this 3-second window, you can learn to control it. I've developed 3 techniques that master these crucial moments. The first is what I call the pattern breaker. When you feel an impulse taking over, you need a physical interruption to break the automatic response. like snapping your fingers twice, tapping your chest, or taking one deep breath. This tiny action interrupts the neural autopilot and creates just enough space to make a conscious choice instead of a reactive one. It works because physical movement activates your prefrontal cortex, the decision-making part of your brain, which can override the emotional limbic system. But you need to choose your pattern breaker in advance, not in the heat of the moment. The second technique is the pre-decision method. This one's about winning the window before it even appears. Elite performers don't rely on in-the-moment willpower. They make decisions in advance. Navy SEAL commanders call this front-loading decisions. Here's how it works. Instead of deciding each morning whether to work out, decide once. I work out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 a.m. Then say to yourself, the decision is already made. You don't renegotiate, you don't reconsider, you just execute. Research from implementation intention studies shows this method makes you 300% more likely to follow through, because you're removing the 3-second window entirely by eliminating the decision in the moment. The third and most powerful technique is the micro-commitment strategy. We often fail in the 3-second window because the task feels too big. The solution? Shrink the commitment until your brain doesn't resist. Instead of saying, I'll work out for an hour, say, I'll just put on my workout clothes. Then, I'll just walk outside for 1 minute. The resistance happens in the first 3 seconds, but once you're in motion, continuing gets easier. As Stanford behavior scientist B.J. Fogg says, tiny habits don't rely on motivation or willpower. They rely on immediate action followed by immediate success. Remember, these techniques aren't about controlling every minute of your day. They're about controlling the right 3 seconds. Life isn't changed by the big moments, but by thousands of tiny 3-second windows that most people never even notice. I know what some of you are thinking. I just need more motivation. But motivation is fickle. It comes and goes. What you really need is control over these pivotal moments of choice. When you master these crucial 3-second windows, you're not just changing your habits, you're literally rewiring who you are. Neuroplasticity research shows that each time you override an automatic response and choose differently, you're physically reshaping your brain's neural pathways. Remember, it's not about controlling every minute of your day. It's about controlling the right 3 seconds. Those tiny spaces between impulse and action, where your future is truly determined. The person you'll be 5 years from now isn't created by big decisions. They're created by how you handle thousands of 3-second windows between now and then. The window is always there. The question is, will you control it, or will it control you? If this concept has hit home for you, I want to hear about it. Drop a comment sharing one 3-second window you're committed to mastering this week. This is just the beginning of reclaiming control of your mind. If you want to master your mind instead of being controlled by it, hit subscribe now and turn on notifications. If you're serious about improving your life, one small shift at a time, watch these videos. Each one is designed to help you think clearer, act smarter, and feel more in control. Until then, remember, your life changes when you control those 3 seconds.